What's up, guys? Morgan True, VT Diggers Burlington Bureau Chief, here in the studios at WBTV LP 99.3, and I'm back for another episode of our visual podcast, Dig This. For people who are understandably distracted by the presidential election, we're going to do a quick rundown on local matters that were decided this past November 8th. So Vermonters turned out to vote, and that's a really good thing. Turnout in Vermont was 71%. That's much higher than turnout figures nationally, where turnout voters, 58% of registered voters voted nationwide. But the turnout figures were a little lower here in Chittenden County. Chittenden County voters, only 66% turnout. And in Burlington, turnout was only 55%, which is lower than the national average. Come on, guys. And the interesting thing about it is that low turnout came during an election when voters decided the fate of a project that, whether you love it or hate it, it's pretty widely agreed is going to transform this city's downtown. So, on question 3, which created a new zoning district, voters approved it 54% to 46%. That's a pretty good margin for what was maybe the most controversial item on Burlington's ballot. Now, this new zoning district is in the heart of downtown. It covers 9 acres that include the Burlington Town Center Mall, LL Bean, Macy's, and some parking garages. And this new zoning was seen as integral to a $220 million mixed-use redevelopment proposed for the Town Center Mall. It allows the height that project will need, 14 stories or up to 160 feet, but city councilors who supported the measure also touted the new design and environmental standards that it includes. So question 4 was related to the same proposed redevelopment project. It asked voters to approve $22 million in tax increment financing, and it passed by a margin of 59% to 41%. The $22 million will be used to build new city streets around the project for approximately 8 blocks, and it will actually pay to build new city streets through the current town center mall, reconnecting Pine and St. Paul from Cherry to Bank and restoring the city's street grid. Mayor Moreau Weinberger, who had supported questions 3 and 4, said he was very pleased that, as he put it, after the election, Burlington voters had voted to remain a city of opportunity. And he acknowledged the vigorous opposition to these 2 questions, saying that he hoped that there would be opportunities for opponents to make their voices heard as we move into the permitting phase of this massive downtown redevelopment. So how will this permitting process work? Well, there are 3 citizen boards that will have some input on whether or not to issue the permits. Those are the Conservation Board, the Design Advisory Board, and the big one, the Development Review Board. The Conservation Board and the Design Advisory Board will make recommendations to the Development Review Board, which has ultimate permitting authority. Although the developer, Don Sinex, can appeal to the courts if he doesn't like the outcome. He's likely hoping to avoid that because there is a timing element to his project. One of the main anchor tenants that would really make sure that this development can go forward is the University of Vermont Medical Center, which plans to lease a big chunk of the office space in this project. They need to be out of current offices when leases end in January 2019. Construction of the first phase of the project, this largest building, is expected to take 18 months and can't begin until the permits are issued. City officials say that could take 4 to 6 months, and so if it's on the outside end of that, if it's 6 months, it's going to be cutting it close in terms of getting shovels in the ground, getting this built in time for UVM to move in. So that's definitely something to watch. Other notable ballot questions that passed were bonding measures, one of which was $27.5 million in what are known as general obligation bonds. Those will go towards city infrastructure, roads and sidewalks, purchasing new fire engines, and that measure actually required a 2/3 majority for passage, and it just got over the line at 76%. Another bond of $8.4 million for water and sewer lines had actually way more support, the most support. I guess people want good water lines for obvious reasons. That passed 88 to 12. A few quick notes on Chittenden County legislative races. The Chittenden County Senate delegation picked up 2 new members. Those are Representative Chris Pearson of Burlington, who made the leap to the Senate with some help from his friend Bernie Sanders. Pearson, the former Sanders staffer, got a fundraising email from Sanders, which helped him raise tens of thousands of dollars and he will now join the Senate as a progressive. Debbie Ingram, a Democrat who had ran before in 2012, didn't make the cut that year, but she is in now, and she is a Williston Select Board member and a faith leader who will take that perspective to the Senate with her. The top vote getter, Tim Ash, another Chittenden County senator, was recently elected by his colleagues to be Senate President Pro Tem. On the House side of things, Democratic incumbent Joanna Cole was defeated in Chittenden 6-1. That's the new North End. She lost to Democratic newcomer Carol Odie and Republican Kurt Wright, who also serves on the city council and looks pretty unbeatable in the new North End. Newcomers in Chittenden 8-2, that's Essex, Democrats Lori Houghton and Dylan Giambattista won. Giambattista is the former chief of staff to outgoing House Speaker Shap Smith, so he will be familiar with the legislature that he is joining. Of note also is that Tim German, a longtime Democratic representative who is a part of the Democratic leadership in the House, is retiring. Paul Dame, who was the other Republican incumbent in that district, lost, and so he is out for now. Something else that's worth looking at is Selena Colburn, a progressive from Burlington, won a seat in the legislature. She'll be representing Burlington and largely the same district that she represents as a city councilor. And it remains to be seen if she's going to run for her city council seat again and try and do the Kurt Wright House rep, city councilor thing. I know that I've heard a lot of sources tell me if she doesn't seek her seat on the city council, there's a lot of interest in that seat. And so that will be a contest to watch if it shapes up that way. Nobody likes challenging incumbents, especially not here in Vermont. So if she stays on the council, it's likely we won't see that outpouring of people trying to take that seat. So that's it for now, guys. For all this and much, much more, check out vtdigger.org for all your Vermont news. I'm Morgan True signing out from the Media Factory. Thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.